think we're live. Internet died. Don't know why. Don't even know what fixed it, to be honest. But we're back. Glad everybody left. Hmm. That is not useful. Can't believe that just happened. Well, we'll see if we get anybody back. Still slow. Okay. All right, I think we're back. Oh well, I'll just continue. Hopefully this keeps on running. Yeah. See what happens. Okay, so where were we? That's weird. I'd already brought in this thing here. I didn't save it or something. Well, so yeah, so what I was saying was that you can definitely bring in something like this and bring that up there, get rid of that. Hold fit a little bit better. Change the text size maybe like 38. Something like that, and that would be just fine. Server unavailable, connect. Cannot authenticate. So I can't connect up. Can't do anything. Way. Log in. That's what we need to do. Go back to having revision control. There's something seriously wrong with my internet connection today. What is going on? It's so slow. Just have to wait. Just be patient. It says it's connecting and all that stuff. Like over on this screen, I'm stuck on this, checking for updates and connecting and all that kind of business. So, anyways, I think we're in. Connect. Unreal. Accept. And that's what happens when you have a disconnection mid-project. It goes wonky. A little bit. Now we gotta wait 2,000 hours for it to connect up. Oh man. Data software is so much fun. wonder if it takes control of everything. Oh, I can work otherwise. Okay, so let's okay, we're connected back up. Let's go into verse. And inside of the custom player, what we're going to do is, I'm just doing a continuation of the last stream. So hopefully people are keeping up with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple things. One, or we're going to instantiate a few things. We've got a player UI widget, which requires the Unreal Engine temporary UI library. Let's put that in. So that gives us a canvas to work with. And as I said, it's no different than this green border here, which is our canvas in our UI blueprint. So we're just going to do this with verse. Pretty much the same thing. Yeah. Back to verse. Okay, so we got our canvas. We're going to need two other things. We're going to need, I'm just copy pasting in from another file, text block. This is going to use another library, Fortnite.com UI library. And we need an image, which is a texture block. So the size of this, we can actually use the blueprint that we made to give us the size and location and all that stuff. So if we select this image here, we can see that it is, let's go 340 by 200, something like that. So we can go 340 by 200. We figured that out. Right, go back to here and scroll over a bit. We can see that there's a default desired size, vector 2. We've got to bring in spatial math, which I comment out. So we already have that. And this is wrong as well. We'll get to that in a second. What did I say it was? It is 340 by 200. 340 200. And then this is wrong. The default image that we're going to put in there is in a different location. If we head back to our other scene here, we can see that this lives inside of UI images, and it's called money_UI_3. So funny thing is, if we do this, money_UI3, and it'll be red, and it'll say, hey, did you mean UI images? And I would be, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Let's put that in. Okay, and then it goes away. So that's how we solve that. So now we've got our text block and our texture set up and our canvas, all items that are set up inside of here. Okay, everybody's back. I am back. I don't know what happened. Internet connection died. It's kind of weird. It's, yeah. I think I need a new cable. So, Luke has a question. It says, in Infinite Zone Wars game where the round never ends, do you subscribe to eliminations or use a different way, because over time, wouldn't it lag if there are too many subscribes? Snicket the Llama says that these posted later. Yeah, all the live streams are posted up automatically, and you can rewatch anytime you want. Yeah, the eliminations are, let's see, this is an easy one to answer. So I would say that subscriptions are only valid while the player is in the game. So there's only as many subscriptions to the eliminated event as there are players. So most games don't really carry that many players. So no, it doesn't create lag over time at all. It just goes away. Do you know how to make a tycoon map? Yes, I've made 5 or 6 of them now. How can we make customizable HUD giving XP on player time elapsed? Well, you don't make a HUD for giving XP. You just give XP to the accolades device. How to make a UI to display points? Well, I answered that in the last one, but we're going to do it with verse now. So here we are in verse. We've got these 3 items that we really need. And let's make a few lines here. and we're going to call initialize player, like so. And initialize player, so we're going to call initialize player when they come into the game. We only want to call this one time because we're going to add their canvas to the game. And the canvas is the same thing inside that blueprint that I showed you. So inside of here, we're going to call set player UI widget, which is, as you can see here, a canvas. And we're going to call a function called create user UI. So let's create this function here. Now, the reason we do this all separated out like this is because it makes it easier to manage later. So, I mean, we could put everything that we've got in here into here kind of idea. But anyways, the point is I'm going to actually pass back a canvas, not void. And that will be our UI for the player. And then once we've done that, we're going to add it to the player's UI. And this is just how you do that. How did you learn verse? Luke says, oh really, subscribes go away and the player leaves. Yep, they just go away. How did you learn verse? I learned verse by just writing a lot. Yeah, reading, writing, practicing until it got kind of good enough to start doing work for people. They would ask me to do things I didn't know how to do, and then I would go learn more and write more and money and. Okay, so let's replicate what we did inside of this HUD here. So we've got a 340 by 200 image that lives here, right? And this image lives a little bit. What we might do is just move all of this over to there maybe, and let's set this position to 0. 188 is probably fine, something like that. Now, depending on the size of your image, like what is around it for transparency and stuff like that, will change. So while I've set it to 0, it's only because there's this gap of transparency here that exists in the file itself. And again, we are in this blueprint, we've put the anchor up top left. So we have to keep that in mind for what we want to do in game. Okay, so let's go back to verse. So in our create user UI, which we're going to be our player UI widget, which is what we add to the player's screen. So player UI, which is the get player UI method of the player object, which we get from the agent, casting the agent to a player object, get the player UI from that player object, and then now that we have that, we can add a widget. So a widget is just a HUD, is kind of the way to look at it. Did you get paid good for it? For making verse stuff? It was all right. Yeah. Once I learned enough, I don't work for anybody else anymore. I just make my own maps with a partner, and we make money that way. So I don't hire myself out anymore. But I teach it, and I make games. Okay, so let me just look over. I'm lazy, so what I'm doing is I'm copy pasting from somewhere else. Okay, so we're going to pass back a UI canvas, and the first thing to do is, okay, so we want to create a UI canvas object like so. And in that UI canvas, there's going to be slots, and it's an array. So we have our first canvas slot. What do we want to put in our first canvas slot? We want to put in a widget, which is going to be, let's see. Texture. And it's not boss2 texture. I've just copied that from somewhere else. It's the gold count texture. right? But we haven't set where it's going to go. So we can grab, let me just grab a couple of things here. So we're going to anchor this to somewhere. So let's do that. Just set this to 0, 0, 0, and 0. So top left is what that is. And then we're going to need some padding. Padding is sort of where you set where you want to think. Well, this goes for the widget, I guess. Where do I set the padding? We set it in not the canvas slot. I guess you can't set the padding on a canvas slot. You got to set the padding on a maybe we can. Nope. Okay, so what we're going to do then, I didn't realize that you couldn't set the padding on canvas slot. I guess I usually don't do that. Usually we would use an overlay or something. Yeah, let's do that. We actually need to use an overlay anyways. I don't know what I'm talking about here. We got to use yeah. So we'll set the anchors to that. We're going to add in this and do this. Okay, so let me just explain this really quickly. Yeah. So an overlay slot or an overlay widget is a way to put something over top of another thing. And that's what I wanted to do. I thought I was going to be able to do a widget, just a normal texture widget, and then I would do an overlay on top of that, but I've got to use an overlay widget, obviously, and there's 2 slots inside of there. So the next thing we're going to do is take a look at where this was placed. So we've got 0 and 188 for our position of our image. So let's head over to that and set up the padding for that. 0, 188. And then we want to do the gold as well. So this one is going to be, let's set it to 100 and 260 sounds good. So top 100, left 260. Right. So what this is now is the anchors of this canvas slot, which is an overlay, is set to the 0, 0 of the blueprint. If you have multiple, would you have to? Yes, Luke, you do. Yep. If you want to do multiple ones, you could have multiple widgets. Just keep on adding them. UI parameter bindings yet. Sort of. Okay, this is fine. This is no problem to do. Let's squeeze this over a bit. So we've got our gold here, texture, and then on top of that, we've got our text block here. Okay, and then what we want to do is every time we add gold, we're going to set the text of this. So let's actually forget about that. Let's just set the value, set gold amount, and then we'll go gold amount, I guess, int equals, and then we'll go gold count set what is it, text. We need this also up in here. That. Let me just quickly look over. Yeah, set text, not just text. I copy and paste stuff so much that this stuff just sort of leaves your brain. String to message. This also has to be a string to message. And then we'll, I think we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it like this. Mount. This is a method, not an equals. And yeah, gold amount. So we're going to set the gold amount here now. Will you ever make verse tutorials on YouTube? I've made lots of them. Just checking the channel. Any reason you save the agent and not the player in the custom player class? Yeah, because I use the agent way more often than the player object. The player object is rarely used. So rare. You use the agent object way more often. 10, 15,000 times more than you would player object. Something like that. Okay, so set gold amount, and that's pretty good. We're going to copy that because we want to, when we hit this resources button, we're going to grab the player. So we'll go if CP equals custom, or no, players map agent CP set gold amount random gold. And that's as easy as it could possibly be to switch out from a HUD to verse. Yeah, yeah, Luke, absolutely, man. You rarely would ever want to use the player object. It's so unusual. Because you use the agent for everything. You use the agent for getting the fork character, you use the agent to show things, use the agent for so many things. It's just one time, like when the player UI, you got to show that, then you get the player object. That's about it. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to build. And it's asking me to save. Okay, so this doesn't matter. The other thing is in verse, you can't set the text size. So it's actually kind of inconvenient in that regard. We can set the color, if I remember correctly. Let's take a look. Let's do this default. Oh, what? Base. Let's look at that. Yeah, default text color. So we'll put this in here, and then equals, and we'll go named colors gold maybe. Named colors is not. We need to use this library to get that, and so we can set that. But yeah, you can't set size. Can you now? No. Yeah. Kind of lame. They'll get to it sooner or later, I guess. Which is kind of like, oops, cancel. Tried to save that. Don't save. And yeah, which is why HUDs are so much more useful, to be honest. But verse is also very powerful. It's incredibly powerful. It's a lot of times you can just use verse. Okay, so we'll build this. Build successfully. We have to relaunch the session because my session died. Yeah. Honestly, it looks like my whole. I can't even scroll in here. There's no games. Project validation failed. Oh, I know why. I know why. So bear with me while I reset this image to a power of 2. What's that? It's a UI item. It's so I thought that you didn't have to bother with powers of 2, but Maybe you do. How did people find you when you knew a lot about verse? How did people find me? Well, I made my own Discord server, and I had a Twitter handle that I still sometimes post on, and I would post stuff in there. Or I would help out on the forums, the Epic forums, and I would help out in other Discord servers. That worked pretty good. People find me like that. And then yeah, and then it's kind of word of mouth, I think. Like people would say, do you know somebody who knows something? Somebody would say, talk to this guy. So find me like that. Now we have to wait again. Man, I don't even know how many hours I spent just waiting around for something to hook up. Heard there's some places you can't anchor some of the UI devices. Are you able to anchor the HUD message device anywhere though? Yeah. I've never heard anything you can't anchor something somewhere. Yet. But maybe not. Yeah, I've never had any failures. Just put it anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. And then it'll scale properly to the HUD scale. Because my scale in my game is 72? 77? Can't remember now. I don't think I can tell. Oh, I can. Let's go in here. Oh, of course, now it starts. How do you function with 30 frames per second? What does that even mean? I mean, how do I function 30 frames per second? Okay, so restart because it never works the first time. Okay, so we got nothing. Oh, because we didn't call initialize player. Let's go back to here. So yeah, so when we want to show that, we have to call initialize player on the player. Let's do that. So instead of where we had here, or not there, instead of we had here where we were showing the HUD, we'll just go like this, CP, and that will initialize the player. And then I guess we should quickly, yeah, we did the set get hold them out. So we'll build that and push verse changes. This is usually quickly. There's another reason people should learn verse is because it's just so fast. Why isn't it working? Let's go, okay. There we go. Clicked it 3 times, yeah. So it's twice telling me it's already trying to run. There's a bug. It said you have 30 frames. Well, you get 30 frames per second in that waiting lobby area, but otherwise I'm at 240. Okay, so it's in the wrong spot. What happened there? What did I do? Let's take a look. Where did I put this thing? Top of 0. Oh, that's wrong. And that was not. So it is 188. Got these backwards. That figures. Let's see if I got the other ones backwards. This was left and top 100 and 260. Yep. Backwards as well. But that's an easy change. See, just do that. Press push verse changes over in UEFN and it should be working. This tech cozy guy, somebody please write in the chat if the question responding to, will you ever make verse tutorials on YouTube? You're literally watching the channel right now where you could go into the content of the channel and find tons of tutorials. Okay, so we don't have any text in here yet, and I'm not sure why. So let's go find out. Let's see. Set gold amount. That should be working. It's in the right spot, right? 260 and 100. 260. What have I done wrong, folks? Let's find out. I'm not pressing the button. Let's go back in the game. I didn't do anything off the start, so obviously it's not going to be in there. You're bad? You're sorry? No worries, man. It's just I'd already said. I thought maybe you weren't able to hear it. So we'll hit the button, and it's a little off, eh? Okay, no problem. Let's bring it up. Let's go to 20. I'm not sure why it's off. My guess is that the size of this is different. And so this represents like a 38 font, but the font inside of Verse is so much different. So no big deal, because we just save, build, and push Verse changes, and it's a super fast change. Am I trying to make a tycoon? No, not right now. 20 minutes ago, yeah, but I answered 20 minutes ago. When you asked it the first time. It doesn't matter, man. Go check them out. There's tons of tutorials on Verse. Like there's a whole series, a 4-part series where I go from beginning to kind of almost intermediate. Oh, it's close, eh? Look how close it is. We gotta come up another 20 maybe. Let's go 200. Something like that. Build. End game. Yeah, I'm not trying to make a tycoon right now, but I am trying to show people how to, if you look at this video, in the last video, I cover how to do this with a HUD, and now I cover how to do it with Verse. So this comes in a lot. There's a lot of, it's pretty close. It's pretty good. With that, and that's all we'd have to adjust. But as you can see, like the differences between doing this with Verse and the differences with doing it with HUDs. HUDs, you can change the text size, you can put in animations, you can do all kinds of things inside of HUDs, whereas Verse is a little more limited, but really powerful as well. The HUD devices used to be kind of buggy as well, so they weren't as good, but I would say probably HUDs are much more common to use. So with the last video and this video, you guys can see how we do the same thing, but with, actually here, let me show you. Let's go to here. And we're going to take these guys and we're just going to drag them down there. Save that, compile that. And then we'll go into the Verse file here. And we're also going to show the HUD as well and change the value. And just because it's on my mind, let's go 190. Yeah. Build that. And so now you're going to see the difference between doing things with a HUD and doing things with Verse. Can you show them at the same time? Waiting for changes to push. Yeah, you have a bunch of tutorials which are really good. Love them. Thanks for making them. You're very welcome. Trying to answer as many questions as possible. I don't always have a lot of time to make tutorials, but live streams I can probably put a little bit of time into, and it's more personal. Luke says, if you're just using a HUD message device without Verse for showing score, does it actually show each player their own score? Yes, it does. And the key to doing that, as I mentioned here, you can see this fancy little HUD device here, is if you go into the message recipient, it should be Hang on, have I got it on the right scene? Yeah, I do. Okay. It should be the triggering player. So there's options here: team index, all, friendlies, enemies, and triggering player. You always want to use triggering player. Unless you're doing a like an alert for the whole game, then you would use all. But yeah, almost always triggering player is what you want to use to trigger for one player. And it will show a different value for every player. Super handy. Yeah, so now we're just waiting for the game to start up. Here we go. All right. I need to get another drink. I'm thirsty. Thinking games is good. I encourage everybody to learn this stuff. Okay, so now we've got the top one is the verse one, and the bottom one is the HUD one. And you can see we can change them both, but you can see the being able to change the font size and visually being able to play with it with the blueprint is easier. And better because you can change the text size. They'll probably put that in verse, but right now it's just in a blueprint for the HUD device. So that's how you do that. Kind of cool. I would say, yeah, I mean, both have their place for sure. Both are useful. Both you should learn. So, all right. So that's the two ways that I wanted to teach how to use UI stuff with a HUD and verse. Says that live stream has been super helpful. Thanks for doing it. You're welcome. No problem. Okay, so Tech says that when I'm done with the tutorial, I start brand new and start fresh, no helping from tutorials, and I get stuck. What to do first? How do you start your code? Because I got stuck on what to write. Yeah, let's do that. No problem. So let me switch over to UEFN. Okay, so in UEFN, so imagine, I'm just going to end the game here for a second. Imagine, yeah, you start out with a brand new project. And it's going to probably, whichever, you just choose one of the templates. And you want to make your verse code here. Now, I've done this in tons of tutorials. If you look up, maybe I should just find that for you, because I think that maybe that will help you. I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put a bunch of links in, just 2 seconds here, everybody. Let's go to my videos. Still just looking for the right 2 seconds. Okay, here we go. This is probably the one that I would recommend. Okay, there's one of them. That's what I do for every game I start. I mean, there are tons of tutorials in here. It's crazy, actually. I didn't realize how many I've made. But I did do a 4-part series on. Yeah, I might do this one here. So getting started with verse. Here. But I'll show you really quickly because it's super easy to do and everybody can learn this as well. You're not going to have so many things in here. Like this is my game manager. I've already got one on the scene, but that's not important. So the way we would start a brand new file is we'd go up to verse, or so yeah, so you've got your project here. You might not have, you're not going to have this item, you're not going to have a HUD. You might not even have a landscape in here, depending on which one you choose. And you're not going to have any buttons. There's a button here. But you're going to want to make your own verse file. So the easiest way to do that is head up to verse, and then you can go verse explorer, and verse explorer will pop up. Then you can right click at the top, add new verse file to project, and we'll call this, let's call this what? Let's call this additional game manager. Doesn't matter what you call it. You can call this anything. I call all of mine game manager. Sometimes I'll start it off with we could put anything in here, super tutorial game manager, and then we just hit create, and it'll ask you to save everything in your scene if you have anything. And then down here in the verse explorer, you'll see the file has been created. Double click on that, and then I'll switch over, and you'll see here, this is what it's going to give you for your beginning code. Now, what you're going to put in here is really just going to depend on, what you want to do in your game. As we just finished explaining in this one, we've got, we've got a HUD, a button, some spawners, right? So then this is very basic code, very simple, 100 lines or so, no big deal. So that's how I would start. That's how you make a verse file. Okay, so next question, which we got from Spexer, says, could you tell me how I could track damage dealt by player through verse? I know kills and KD, but can't figure out how to do damage dealt. Damage dealt. There is a way to do it. There's like the damaged event. Isn't there on the for character or something like that? I haven't done that in a while. I remember doing it. Let me see if I can find some code. On damaged. Yeah. Okay, so there is a way to do this. But how did I trigger this? So there's a damage event probably on the Fort character. So let's do that inside of the custom player. Yeah. So let's go if FC equals my agent object get Fort character. FC damaged event. Okay, so in the Fort character, there's the damaged event and the damaged shield event. You're going to want to listen for both of these. So let's go to the damaged event. We'll go subscribe. On player damaged, we'll call that. And we'll just make that on player damaged. And I think this takes like a damage result. Yeah. Okay, let's go find out what's inside of the damage result. So we got the target and then the amount, the instigator, and the source. Okay, so yeah, so you get the amount that was applied to the target, which should be this player, right? Because we're listening to it inside of the custom player here. So this player will have, so you should be able to go print, I was hit for the amount, right? So if this player was damaged by something, yeah, so if we also have to, if you don't want just if you also, you got to get the shield separately. So I think it's shield. Oops. Damaged event. What is it? Shield damaged? What was it? Help me out. That wasn't it. For character. Why am I not finding it right away? Damageable, damaged event. Damaged shield event. That was it. On player shield damaged. I'll make another one like this. Grab that. And that also is a shield. It's also a damage result. Yeah. Yeah, damage result here. And then, yeah, and then you could find out how much their shield was damaged and how much they were damaged, and you could keep track of that there. Is the amount an int? I don't know. Amount is a float. Collisions is here. Glad you're up to catch this late stream. It's kind of late, isn't it? It's almost midnight for me. Doesn't matter. I usually stay up pretty late. But yeah, so that's how you can kind of keep track of how much somebody's been damaged. Easy peasy, guys. Remember, if you ever want to kind of know something and you don't have a live stream running to help you out, you can just, control left click and then start wandering around inside of the Fortnite.digest.verse or the Unreal one or the verse digest. There's so much in there. This picture is school in 6 hours. This is school, bro. Did you work on the Tiny Zone Wars map? I built it. Yeah, with Jiven. We built it together. They both print d.amount. Wouldn't you want two different variables? No. So so d is passed in this method. d.amount is local to this function. So this is the same as well. We could put d. We could put I don't know, shield damage and player damage if you wanted to. Like, it doesn't matter what you call these. These are local to this function, right? So we're just grabbing this and putting it in here. If you wanted to keep track of how much it is, like, okay, so say for example you want to keep track of total damage. It's a float, not a bloat. Float equals 0.0. You could do this. If you want to keep track of total damage, set, did I make that a var? Yeah. Set total damage plus equals that, right? And we'll go down here, this in, grab that, do that. And then you would be keeping total damage that the player was damaged for. I already answered your question before you asked it. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. Yeah, remember there's local and global. So global to the class is set here, but local to the function is just inside of here. Like, I couldn't get shield damage amount anywhere else. Yeah. To reset it, yeah, you could just reset player damage. Just set total damage equal to 0.0. It's float. And yeah, Pretty cool, right? Easy peasy, guys. Yeah, learning verse is just like, now that you know how to do this, then what does void do? Void does nothing. Void is just because we're not returning anything. So say for example, okay, let's do getters and setters. So set player damage. We'll put value as a float. We'll set total damage equals value. Okay, so in this case, it's void. It doesn't need to return something, right? But if we wanted to get the player total damage, we would return a float. So return total damage. So this is the return value of the function. So you might call get player total damage from somewhere in your game manager, right? So maybe on add resources button, we could print, you know, like when they, yeah, let's do that. So we'll go print CP get total player damage. Let's wrap this up in a thing. Total damage, squiggly brackets and quotes. So you could, this is just using it in a print, but you could put it in the UI or a HUD or like if, okay, so say for example, you want to show you've been damaged for 500 or something like that. So you could check that. So you could say, well, let's go total damage equals, copy this out. And then if total damage is greater than, say, 500, then you could do a thing. So right now we just put this in here. So if it's over 500, then we would just print it's over 500, for example. But you might show a HUD saying you've been beat up a lot, go take a rest, or I don't know what you want to do. Whatever you want to do there. So, did you have errors with the recent update where there were just errors everywhere in the verse file? Yes, that happens every single project. It happens all the time. I don't know what they've done, but before you open up your verse file, just build your verse code and then open up verse. It's fine. It's no big deal. In Blueprint widgets, are you able to change the HUD message image based on the amount of score a player has using conditions? No. You can't. But you can do that with verse. But what you can do is actually change the HUD itself. So, say for example, we have this HUD here, which is our original HUD, and you wanted to change just the texture. There's no way to do that with code. You can't change a texture with code. But what you can do is make another one of these and use a different image with the text being exactly the same and the same bindings. And then you would hide the previous HUD and show that HUD. So that's a really common thing to do. Or you can do it with verse. Doing it with verse is so easy. If we go into the verse here, we can go to the gold count texture and say, let's do this. So let's go if gold amount is greater than 500. Maybe we'd want to show a different image. So we could go gold count texture, set image, and then you would set, I'm just going to set it to the original because I don't have another image in here right now. But you could just do that and say that was, say it's another one, it's 5 or 10 or whatever, like something else, and that would change the texture that lives there. So verse is so powerful in that regard. HUDs are kind of a pain. There you go. Have you messed around with scene graph? Nope. The reason I haven't messed around with scene graph is because it's in such a buggy alpha / beta state that I just don't find it worth it. I got so many other things to do. We're building like 3 maps at a time all the time. I just don't have time to mess with something that they clearly haven't sorted out and probably won't for a while. So I just can't be bothered. How would I get the remaining player health? Also an easy item. You're going to grab the fort character again. Go FC, get health. Bam, you're done. All right, next. That returns a float, if I remember correctly. That's right. Control click on that, get health. Yeah, returns a float. So easy. You guys are already answering in the comments. Oh, you've been grinding Infinite Zone Wars. Nice, buddy. Yeah, it is a solid game. I really like it a lot. I play it every day as well. And I'm not a comp player, but I do want to get better, and I find it like we made Forever Zone Wars as well. But Infinite Tiny Zone Wars is kind of like, it's almost like Forever Zone Wars Part 2, version 2. It's superior in ways that I like. Some people like the other. I mean, they're both pretty good, but you know, yeah, I just find it's such good practice. It's amazing. I really like it because I can practice height a lot. And I'm not even that good. I wish I was better. Just keep trying. Yeah, it's that simple to get the health. You can get the shield as well if you want, right? FC get shield. And if you really wanted to, you could set the health to 100. Whatever, you can set the max health. Yeah, set it to 500 so that a player has, they can have 500 health. So, how do you convert a float to an int, or do you not need to? Well, why would you? Why do you want to? To print out a number, you don't need to. When you want to print something, just put it in these little curly brackets like this. Prints out a float or an int, whatever you want. Do you still update Forever Zone Wars? Yep, all the time, man. No, we work on all of our maps. We've got tons of maps. We've got like 5 tycoons. We've got Arcade Tycoon. We've got Christmas Tycoon. We've got a Zone Wars Tycoon, which is cute. Good for casuals. It's a fun little game. What else have we got? Halloween Tycoon, which we've changed to Haunted Tycoon. Maybe we just have the 4. Yep, and then all of the Forever Zone Wars, solos, duos, trios, plus the Infinite, plus we've got 1v1s, box fights, and OG Forever Zone Wars. We have a lot of maps. Very busy. Yeah, so we update them all, especially for loot, and then we try to come up with ideas that would make them better. The Nuketown gun game was a good one. Yeah, and I appreciate you popping in on that. Total health and shield, what about that? You just add them both and it does that. Total, yeah, if you wanted to know how much health they have, you would add up their get health and get shield. I don't know how much they got. Yeah. Fortnite has crashed. Excellent. That's what we want to see. Crashing Fortnite. Oh man. At least UEFN didn't crash. Or maybe it did. I don't know. So that's that. Hopefully that kind of helps you guys. I mean, if there's any other questions, I'll answer them. But if not, maybe I will. What's happening here? There it goes. It's dead. I'm a mouse. There you go. This is really easy, but how would I assign it to a variable like total health? Yeah, it's so easy, man. So what we can do is say player, go like this. Player health equals player shield, colon equals shield. We can go, we can make a total health. It's a float, 0.0. Just go set total health equals player health plus player shield. You're done. What is FC? FC is a Fort character. I've just set that. I mean, you can put anything in here. Fort character. It doesn't matter. It's just a variable name. Call it whatever you want. This one here, 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 and here. It doesn't matter what you call it. Anything you want. You're welcome for the help. Hopefully that's helped a bit. Hopefully everybody gets on with their games a little bit more, a little bit better. Love the maps. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, we love making them. Glad people like them. What? We got another. Could I add you on Discord? Maybe. I mean, I don't usually answer questions directly in there too often. It's kind of unusual. If I have time, like this is when I have time when I'm sitting in a live stream, or if you ask inside of the Discord channel, I'll do my best to answer in there. But when I'm locked in and trying to work, then I don't answer anything. I'm just concentrating. I just kind of deafen stuff and don't pay any attention. So, I mean, we can, but I might not answer. Oh, I did miss your question. 007 Smith. How to use collectibles as currencies? That's an interesting one. Let's do the other one first, though. Which Discord channel? The only one. Somebody have a link to my Discord channel by chance? Maybe I have one. Take a look. Let me take a look. Right here. Okay, when another player sprints or jumps in my map, they look jittery. Map uses a first-person device and it happened after a session or season update. Can't seem to fix it. Any ideas how to fix it? When a player sprints or jumps my map, if your players are looking jittery or lagging in your game, you probably got some stuff going on in your game that is causing it. I don't think I've seen. Okay, see you, Spexer. Later, man. Thanks for coming in. I don't think I've seen that. I don't know how you would fix it other than to probably work on your game to make sure it's not laggy. If they've done something lately, I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised. And then in such a case, I have no idea how to fix it. We don't do first-person maps very often. We did a couple and they didn't really go anywhere. So we sort of wandered away from that a bit. How to use collectibles as currencies? Well, you just would keep track of them being picked up. So a collectible is super simple to keep track of. So if, let's put in one of them. So we'll call it CC, collectible object device. And for this, we can subscribe to the collected event on coin collect. And so we would put that in here. Accepts an agent. And yeah, so what we'll do is we'll grab it, go to the player's map, and we'll go CP, add coin. Go back up to our CP custom player class. We'll go var total coins int equals 0. Then we can go down here somewhere, add coin, set total coins plus equals 1. There you go. Did you check out that ecosystem live stream on FN Creates YouTube with Immature Gamer? I did check that out. Yep. Wolflow. I deleted around every unnecessary device. Delete all verse devices. It wasn't using. App is only 60K and still jittery. Was fine for the update. I don't know, man. That sucks. Some of the things that create lag or jitteriness are NPCs, meaning like any AI item. It could be a chicken, could be a, like the wolves or any of the monsters, zombies, actual the NPC devices or guards, stuff like that. Those can create jitter. If you have a bunch of things animating, move tos or animations and stuff like that, that can create jitter. If you have too big of textures or materials, those can also create some lag when they have to render in and out and stuff like that. So there's a lot. Yeah. 007 says, fantastic. Thanks so much. You're welcome. Luke says, I have this custom landscape material that takes up to 80 megs of download for my map, but whenever I try to load it into a private playtest, it takes 5 minutes to load. 5 minutes. Yeah, actually, private maps seem to take forever. After asking people, they said it only takes 5 minutes because it's a private playtest session that once I publish the map, loading time will be a lot faster. It is true. Yeah. Playtest, private maps seem to have some weird delay. I think they're different servers. Do you have any tips on lowering delay and lags on maps? Yep, I just gave them, so I know the comments are behind what I'm saying. But reducing lag, you really want to be cautious of VFX, render distance for things. So if you've got a big map, you want to work on the streaming portion of it, like how it streams in this stuff. If you don't want any lag whatsoever, definitely don't put in anything that has to do with AI. 100% that will cause lag. There's no two ways about it. Those are for casuals only. If you have a comp map or something that requires 0 lag, put nothing in there that has to do with NPCs or AI or anything. Will 80 megabytes take 10 seconds? I don't know, man. I mean, it depends on the person's internet connection. Yep. So, I mean, if they have a decent internet connection, I suppose 80 megs is not much. Yeah. So, yeah, lag and delay is a big deal. It's not easy. Creative maps have a harder time than Battle Royale or Epic's games do. Do you make all your PNG and JPEG files that make up each material smaller? I see people upload 1.5 to 5 megabyte normals, for example, use Photoshop to make all material files smaller before upload to UEFN. Yep, make them as small as you possibly can. UI stuff doesn't have to be very big. Stuff that, yeah, I mean, the rendering engine of Unreal is very powerful. You can get away with, yeah. I would say my suggestion would be to make stuff at 256 by 256 at first, and go up from there. If you feel like it needs to be a bit bigger, then go to 512, 1024. You're almost never going to need to go above that, especially for Fortnite games, because they have to be pretty low load, I guess. But yeah, start small. Thanks for the advice. You're welcome. Says Fortnite's running. Why? Because UEFN's running. And sometimes this program is such trash, isn't it? Makes no sense. Fortnite again. 2048 by 2048 is way too big. Way too big. 10x too big. Yeah. For a UI, it's crazy. I mean, think about it. It's bigger than the canvas size. You don't need that. Way smaller. Way smaller. Man, Sunday night, nobody's playing, eh? Numbers are so low. Yeah, bring your, but I mean, does it make a difference for performance? For UI, yes, because it doesn't use bitmaps. I would think it makes a big difference, but mostly it's sort of your memory size. Like, just you don't want so much sitting in memory. You just don't need it. You know, you could cut down your memory so much just not having that in there. So 2048, we never use. I don't recall the last time we used anything above 1024. So just don't need it. Yeah. Reduce. Because memory is going to be your biggest bottleneck. I mean, the Christmas Tycoon that I've got, that thing's sitting at like 99.8% full, like, or 99.8 megabytes of 100 megabytes, right? And I mean, it was just constantly, what is happening here? Why? I have never seen this before. Is my internet just full failing or what? I don't even know. Infinite Tiny Zone Wars. You should play it every day. Yeah. Oh, everything. Yeah, Christmas Tycoon got going on. There it is, this one here. Christmas Tycoon was crazy. It's so full of stuff that textures had to be brought down to a minimum. It was bonkers. How about putting text and images on plain meshes for a lobby? Let's just do use nothing bigger than 512, man. Yeah. I don't think so. So few players. Yeah, 84K in Battle Royale. It's such a low number. Yeah, so you want to keep your memory down. And you do that by reducing textures, materials, or the textures you use inside of materials and stuff. Yeah, you should change your stuff. 2048 is enormous. Yeah, it's way too big. Small as you can. Yeah. $43K. That's nice and small. Yeah. I mean, we've got uh, Forever Zone Wars and Tiny Zone are both smaller than that. It's when you're making games that have so much more in it. Devices take up a lot of memory. Verse code is very little. It's going to be textures, models, so meshes and stuff like that you're going to be bringing in. And then Fortnite devices. They're such hogs. Use as few as you can. Reuse them across players if you can, across bases, whatever. Some of these games are still going good, eh? First Person Islands. Jigsaw 6 horror. I do like first person. It's cool, but we just couldn't get anything to kick off. So, I think that's about it. I think I wanted to cover the UI stuff and help people out. I think I've done that. Answered a bunch of questions. Hopefully that has helped. But I think maybe call it at that. As always, thanks for being here, guys. If you have any more questions, stick them in the Discord. And I usually try to like bunch stuff up and then I'll do a live. I'll try to do more live streams. Making tutorials is kind of a pain. It's kind of time consuming. Doing live tutorials is easier and also makes it more custom. You can ask questions and I'll see if I can answer anything you ask. Because it's yeah, there's a lot of real common questions out there that everybody wants to know stuff on. So happy to help out. anyways, I'm going to end this here. Thanks for being here, guys. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.